How could you ever love me? You don't even see me. I'm hanging around, wasting time, hoping that you drop by. And I don't pretend to know what you want. I don't even know where to start, but I'm willing to try. Even if you push me under, it's only gonna make me stronger. It's only gonna feed my hunger. Say the words, say the words. Even if the tide stops turning, even if the world keeps burning, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Say the words, say the words. Watching the flames burn higher, setting my world on fire. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, risking it all on you. And I don't pretend to know how you feel. Either you won't or you will, but I'll give it a try. Even if you're too blind to see, and even if you look right through me, I never thought it would be easy. Say the words, say the words. Even if the world stops breathing and every beating heart stops beating, nothing's gonna stop this feeling. Just say the words, say the words.
so damn lost to what I loved and what I lost. But let's get lost in love tonight. Hear a second voice inside my head, it's telling me to say tonight again, and hold on to the words we always said would be forever, forever. Wait another day to clear my thoughts, so jump into a love that won't be forgotten. Forever, forever, let's run away together. Let's run away together. Let's run away together. I wanna run away with you. Let's run away together. Let's run away. Let's run away together. Let's run away. Swear we'd never say goodbye. Fall asleep to lullabies with something that I thought I'd never find. And what is right and what is wrong, and all I ever saw was love. But let's get lost in love tonight. Hear a second voice inside my head, it's telling me to say the night again, and hold on to the words we always said would be forever, forever. Wait another day to clear my thoughts, so jump into a love that won't be forgotten. Forever, forever, let's run away together. Let's run away together. Let's run away together. Let's run away together. Wait another day to clear my thoughts, so jump into a love that won't be forgotten. Forever, forever, let's run away together.
My head is heavy, let me lay it down. Into your lap I would love to drown. I need that story I used to hear, to run on empty and disappear. Your stories, they come from the heart. Pull me together and tell me
Okay, welcome guys. To the the fifth day. I actually lost track already. It should be the fifth day of ABC tournament. So right now we're gonna be showcasing only one match today. One match now, and then one match in 7:45, which is 45 minutes from now. So these two matches are very important because this match right now decides who's gonna go on to next stage, which means is the lower bracket finals. So this is the lower bracket semifinals. I think. Yeah, this should be a lower bracket semifinals. And it will be PGMT versus MIB. This would still be a BO5 if I'm correct. Let me check. Yes, it's a lower bracket. It's a lower bracket round 3, which would be Blackoville, Dancy's Pearl, and Rockfield 3 maps. And as usual, the usual rules. After each round, there was switch spawns and stuff. And yeah, so both teams so far have showcased. I think I've never seen PGMT play just yet. I think I saw the other PGMT play, but not this PGMT. So it's something to look forward to, if there's anything to look forward to be honest. But we've seen MIB play, so they've been able to capitalize on enemies' mistake quite a lot. We've seen we've seen quite a few games of them. I think it was day 3 or day 2. Regardless, there's some mistakes that I caught back then. I'm not sure if they have worked on it or not, but let's hope they don't try to do the same mistake over again. And try to be way too aggressive and lose their hit points to do something. That's usually the things that you don't really want to see in a team, especially when they're this skilled to begin with. You really wish that they are they're a bit more conservative in their plays and not bleed too much while they're making those plays. So yeah, it makes sense. So yeah, it makes sense to have like this as a sort of a matchup to prove whether MIB is uh, fit for the next stage or not. So whoever's remaining in the tournament would be currently with PGMT. So currently there's 4 teams remaining in the tournament: PGMT, Men in Black, which is the matchup we're looking at, and there's also Nuggies for me and Top 9. So there's 4 teams remaining. Whoever exits here would take 4th place. And I feel like this match it probably favors MIB slightly, due to the I feel like their skill might actually still carry them over PGMT in this case. But we'll see. We'll wait for them to sort of ready up. They're almost all ready. It's only one more tank before the match would kick off. So I'm just gonna make sure I set up everything. And we should start anytime soon once they're ready. So it seems that they're still trying to ready up. Okay. Okay, they should be all ready. It'll just be a matter of time whether they will start or not. So yeah, game should kick off anytime soon. So as you can see, the room is totally full. It is full 20 players inside. So yeah, we're just waiting for MIB to sort of ready up onto whatever the lineup they choose. But in the meantime, yeah, they should really be starting anytime. They should be starting now, yeah. So, first game, lower bracket, semifinals, our final stage. We will have MIB versus PGMT. Both teams are apparently taking two different meta, so PGMT is looking to take more of a modern meta, I would guess. Double Crown Valiants, double E5s, IS4 Vickers, and then T22. While MIB is trying for more of a bit of an old school lineup. It's a triple IS4, one E5, 150B. Oh what? I was just stuck onto the cave. Anyway, Monaco was the first tank to take hits from either team, and Pooh for the win also took one hit in return. So it's basically even. PGMC's now contesting C. MIB doesn't seem like they want to contest this at all, so they're gonna give it for free. So PGMT would have the cap leads for now, as in MIB would now be capping A. So trade caps, while PGMT would have a slight cap lead to begin with. But Monaco is taking a lot of hits, so he might actually go down very, very soon. He's taking more and more. He needs to start staying safe, otherwise he would go down without even doing anything at the start. He probably put one shot at start, but that's about it. So he needs to stay. He needs to really be careful because he's now in deep enemy territory, and he can't rotate out because he's now being pinned down by the spotting of Weeboat in the Vickers. But he's now in a very, very tough situation where Chicago is now trying to cap B, trying to take some distraction. But the thing is, right now I feel like MIB is a bit disoriented into what they're actually trying to do as a team, because they have so now their team is now starting to rotate down to help them, but like you can see the clear separation of their two groups of teams, where their mediums are actually not doing much. So Chicago and Monaco go down for basically nothing right now, whereas E5 Congo, it's now being focused in B cap. PGMT has very, very short focus fire right now. Caravagan from PGMT just went doon, but MIB really lost 3 tanks. So this is really quick, the really good stuff from PGMT for focusing fire that quick. Oslo's now being focused. Capricorn is also now being shot at. So it's now basically just whether MIB could turn this around, because they still could sort of do this if they have the right idea of what they're doing. It's 3k hit points of disadvantage is now like still going back and forth. But the tanks are now going into BGMT's favor massively. So I feel like it's just now. Right now, it's just a matter of time whether how long it takes PGMT to clean up this, because MIB definitely dropped the ball right there. 50B being exposed so much early game, he literally got dropped without doing much. I would say he only did 1 shot of damage. Other than that, he did basically nothing else. in that game, and then he basically went down for free. So that really hurt MIB's chances at start, and their team had different decisions at the same time. That didn't help as well. So basically what you see there was, I would say, a conflict of decision. Like that was pretty clear that there's a conflict of decision, because you see, I think it was Monaco going down, but I think it was Congo that pushed down first, or it could actually be one of the eyes for that push down, push in BCAT first. That triggered the entire PGMT response, and basically everything just snowballed from there on in. So, like there was definitely some decision making issues from MIB side, especially from like I would say there's definitely some decision making issues from the MIB side of things, especially on how things that went. So looking at this, like as you can tell, Monaco is actually very far behind 12, but he's getting spotted by Vickers Weibo. So what he can't really do much there, except really try to hide. But the thing is, he's already spotted, lit up in one shot. He couldn't really do much to begin with, so losing him hurt a lot. But that also meant that MIB had to sort of make something happen. So Chicago, okay, so it was actually Chicago that made the first move right there, and it actually triggered an entire response from PGMT, and I feel like Congo and Capricorn was forced to sort of push down in order to make sort of at least an attempted effort into helping Chicago getting something done. So at this part, I feel like it's a bit of a forced effort from MIB, and it's also showed how I would say well, they have different. I feel like they have different opinions on what to do, because as you can see, Rome, the Vickers and the T-22s doesn't seem to be joining the fight a lot at that stage. Like they didn't really know what they're trying to do. So I feel like they're just getting. So basically, it's just MIB getting shocked at the early stage of the game, and hopefully the next round they could sort of fix that as we enter the second game. So now, this round, PGMT dropped the Crown Wagons in return for 1 extra IS-4 and 1 extra E5, if I remember correctly. In this case, MIB now is trying for a very fast, trying for a very quick C contest. In this case, PGMT would give no contest onto that card of the map, but PGMT also gets A first. So in this timing, PGMT should have the cap lead if nothing special happens. Yeah, indeed. So so right now PGMT has the cap lead once again, but this case MIB is not far off. They're only slightly behind, 10 points behind. So it's really just a matter of this time they got nothing to get caught up, so that's actually a very good start already for MIB. They're not far behind on cap points, and also they're not getting caught in a 50B. So at this stage, it's only them trying to figure out what they should be doing, figure out where the PGMT tanks are stacked. Lost Keys are not getting shot at a bit. He's spotted. He's sort of like very forward of PGMT, so MIB would definitely get that information and try to get something, done. Mainly because Lost Keys is gonna be taking a very interesting position right here. That can actually spot most of MIB's forces if they are still stacking like that. So in MIB's situation, they might want to try to do something about Weibo and Lost Keys, because these two hold a very key position if MIB wants to return to A at any point of the game. And Chicago is now taking a few hits. Um, and indeed, MIB did really want to go back to A, so they're not trying to force their way in. But Lost Keys are now getting focused enough to get set on fire, taking 1,000 damage in the process. It seems that he's not really being the focus of MIB, so even though he's getting shot at, okay, so he's the first tank go down, so that's a good job by MIB to focus him down. But right now, it seems that MIB is slightly stuck in this situation as they don't have enough tanks to contest cave, but they're also in a situation where their tanks are getting pushed solo, get caught off guard. So they really, yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing. They should be going full force onto cave. So in this case, Weirbo should be very quick to go down, where Chicago would be traded if things go correctly. Yep, Weirbo goes down. It will be a 1-for-1 trade in MIB's favor so far, but PGMT still has the hit point advantage right now. So even though MIB has the cap lead, their hit points are now being dropped like flies. So you need to be careful. But Rome is still not in the fight. So this fight is actually favoring PGMT, even though they don't have even though they're one tank less one tank less alive. Oslo is gonna go down right now. Yes. Same for T22. He's gonna go down very soon as well. Rome seems to be not in the fight today. Not sure why, but Rome was never in the fight the entire time. Not sure what he was doing. I'm pretty sure there should be a good reason to not be in the fight for so long. He's finally back, but it's way too late because PGMT now has all the hit point advantage that they need. Capricorn also went down. Congo's gonna go down very, very soon. So it's gonna be Rome against Fall. Congo's still holding on, but he's gonna go down very, very soon. So Congo goes down. It's basically now Rome versus Fall. Rome takes down T22. He's not being chased, so you can really just run. But the thing is, they're losing cap point as well, so it really, any effort to run is basically useless because right now PGMT has the cap lead. So right now is a good time for MIB to sort of review what they did wrong into these two games, because honestly I feel like the first game was a lost cause from the start, really, but the second game they sort of lost it from the midway in, mainly because they didn't have, like, they reacted that slightly slowly. So basically what happened was PGMT was basically instantly capitalized on what MIB was trying to push back onto the cave, and Rome was not in the fight the whole time. So that was pretty confusing, if I have to say. So yeah, like PGMT took very aggressive positions right here at start to basically relay information of how MIB set up and basically be the first spoilers. If MIB push up like how they did, instantly those two tanks would be able to see see it coming. And in this case, you see that PGMT actually preserved a lot of hit points despite them being a tank down. And Rome actually not in the fight the entire time hurt MIB's chance a lot, because that really meant even though PGMT has one tank disadvantage, in that fight they actually had the health advantage. We got more health, and they got more heavy tanks right there. So MIB dropped the ball right there once again. So let's hope they can sort of pull it back in Dynasty's help, because now it's match point for PGMT. If PGMT win this, MIB would be not disqualified, but they'll be kicked out of the tournament in a 3-0 fashion by PGMT. So it's really about MIB trying to save themselves right now, because right now things are not looking good for MIB at all. They really need to actually get this at least the next 2 games in, otherwise they would be eliminated. They're not running a triple mouse setup, MIB, while PGMT go back to their old ways of double crown wagons. I would say this lineup might actually could favor MIB a bit, depending on how they use the free mouses. But PGMT also has 2 mouses of their own, so there's really not such a distinct advantage of taking 3 mouses in this case. Just depends on how you use them in the end. But it seems that both teams are ready for a C approach, where PGMTs can actually go very, very aggressive. They're not even trying to get a cap. They're just gonna go all the way into a very aggressive position to basically have MIB's attention all on them, and try to capitalize on enemies MIB's counter aggression. And it seems that it's actually working in their favor. Florida, Congo, both taking a bit of flack. Florida now taking a bit more hits. Losky is actually very, very aggressive. That's actually played in his favor right now. So right now, MIB is now being in a very, very heavy disadvantage in terms of map control, because right now Florida is now being very, very low. And there's only one tank in the form of IS4 holding this position, which is now heavily contested. Florida's taking more damage. He's gonna go down very soon, like the first game 50Bs, if he does not stay safe. He is gonna repeat the fate of the 50B if he does not stay safe. And MIB, even though MIB get A, their main teams are in big trouble. So Rome and Capricorn need to do something. They cannot just sit there and wait for enemies to do something. Oh, Congo now went down. So now the hit point advantage is not heavily in the favor of PGMT. It's 4k hit point advantage really. So right now they are losing in hit point, map control, and the only thing they're winning is in cap points, and that is not really a solid advantage in any shape or form. So now PGMT is now pushing the advantage. As for Yogan Govinda, is gonna go down very, very soon. He goes down. Chicago's now gonna go down very soon. Florida's now 1-shot already. Also is a 2-shot. Everybody in MLB is very, very low. Rowe is still not in the fight for so long once again. And it's the same way of ending. It's basically the same recipe. It's the same way of ending. Chicago's gonna go down very, very soon. He's now 2-shot, 1-shot. Florida stayed alive for so long, but he didn't do much because he bled so much to begin with. He goes down as well. Capricorn is now 1-shot. He's gonna go down right now. Is now Rome again. He's now 1 versus 6 this time. How are you gonna win this? It's impossible to win this. You can't have your mediums being out of the fight for so long. Yes, he's staying safe, but he's also not involved in the fights at all. You can't. If you're not involved in the fight, you're basically one time down to begin with. I can't understand how what MIB is trying to achieve here, because right now they are undeniably throwing games. Their IS4s, their 50Bs, I don't know why it feels like they're throwing games. They're throwing games. Are you serious? Okay, either way, we missed it, but that round was not pretty at all. It was basically MIB getting their ass handed. Because it was basically the same issue with game 2, where it's basically a combination of both even. So it was basically their IS4s getting bled so heavily early on, and then basically same as second game, the T22 was out of the fight for way too long. So basically what that meant was they didn't have anybody Like they're one tank down, in terms of hit point, and the one tank extra down in terms of the fight because the T22 was not in the fight at all. And you could also argue that their mouse was also one of their mouses also not in the fight because he was capping, he was at the B side capping, so you can see from the damage it was not pretty for MIB side at all. It was a 7k hit point of 7k hit point difference, at least damage difference, not hit point difference, in PGMT's favor. So it was really not a good thing to be seeing from MIB perspective. It was not pretty by any means. It was basically the repeat of first game and second game, where instead of anything being better, it was just compounded by the mistakes that they made. So it was confirmed that PGMT would advance to the lower bracket finals, and MIB would take 4th place. So next game is gonna be in 15 minutes, which would be Nagis versus Top 9. So I guess we could play some burning games. It's actually a decent game mode in my opinion right now after they revamped it. So but yeah, MIB was not really in the fight for at least the majority of the last 2 games, because like there's really no way you can win a fight with your mediums being so far away from the fight. Like your mediums are supposed to be the flankers, if not the side shot guys, or if not the crossfire guys, but doing nothing in the fight until it's way too late. It's not a good idea to have a teammate like that. Whether it be Rome's decision making, or it was MIB's call that Rome shouldn't be in the fight, either way it shouldn't even happen in the first place. I feel like MIB was not in the shape tonight, as it looks like their decision making was, I would say, crippled. I can only use the word crippled, like, because that's how it is to me. Oh. Ow. So get out of here for now. I like how the T-20 defender is so pushed up. Oh, so there's two bulldogs here, no wonder. I'm actually gonna get screwed here. Am I? Actually, I'm not. I'm actually recap B. Wait, how are we 2 tanks down? Is our teammate just throwing their health, hit their tanks away like that? Oh my god. It's a 4 vs 6, that's not even in our favor at all. Oh my god, don't track him. Three lives for a 6 life, that's not easy at all. That's not easy at all. Yep, T-3400's gone. I mean, being the bigger one-shot hit guy might actually help. Yeah. At least I tried. Team needs to stop throwing their tanks like that early game. I didn't believe her a smasher because he was actually not even showed up. Anyway. Either way. Let's open a few galactic containers. If there's anything. Hey, free XP, yay. What can we spend for a bit? Let's play a bit more burning games. So the game's in 10 minutes. And we can play a bit before the game starts. Okay. Ammo rack exploded, nice. Why does the team go downtown again? I don't get it, man. I don't get what's so attractive about town in Middleburg. Anyhow, that's 2 tanks down from... I'm the only one who's killing tanks, what the hell? I am the only player killing tanks, what the hell? So that's 3. Took 3 with me, that's 1 life. And we're still 1 tank down, what the hell? I need to get the hell out, man. I keep over adjusting. I mean, T's are meant to camp, so what are you gonna do about it? Why is it not damaging him when I'm tracking him? Is it like I shoot the wrong parts of the track? That's pretty stupid, honestly. Okay, how did that not hit him? So that's his first life? Oh my god, man. What is this 1 versus 4 shit, man? Okay. Guys, stop going town. It's not useful, man. Literally dead weight, man. Literally dead weight, man. Like, yeah, Burning Games, I feel like Burning Games now awards slightly smarter plays of the game because not really just how the game plays anymore. You got to revive, you get to um, have higher damage, higher reload, and higher it rewards slightly smarter plays because you know that you should know that everybody has slightly better characteristics than they should have. But your armor stays the same, so it really now become firepower dominant. So you need to find some ways to go around it a bit. Either way, we should be dropping into the room very soon. Okay, seems that we're moving rooms. This match will be a best of 7, meaning it's going to be 4 maps, each played twice, except the last map. The 4 maps will be Oasis Palms, Alpenstadt, Port Bay, and Yukon. Okay. So all we have to wait for right now is both teams ready up, and then we'll go into the first game, which should be Oasis Palms. Oasis Palm, yeah. So Oasis Palm will be first map, and then Alpenstadt, and then Port Bay, and then Yukon. If we need to tiebreakers, first team to 4 points will win, as opposed to 3 points in best of 5. So it seems that E7 is now basically ready. It's just that waiting for cats to sort of ready up in the desired tanks. Seems like close to ready as well, and we should have a game very, very soon. Yes, we'll have a game right now. So, as we start, we actually see both teams sort of put some emphasis onto C-Cap, where, well, E7 putting quite a bit of emphasis in C-Cap, while Cats is actually putting quite limited support onto C-Cap with only 2 E5s with 2 TVPs. So the 2 TVPs are the same for both teams, but whatever is going to C as a heavy tank is actually different between the teams. So, whether the teams can realize that the enemy is taking a slightly different approach than them into the cap, like once they realize how they set up positioning, so it's part of the E5, so that actually gives some hint onto how cats are being set up right now. And that will also probably prompt Island and Mouse would probably try to go near B, means that they would that would give them more enough hints that there's 2 Crown Wagons now outside in the desert. They don't know as for just yet. Once they know it, they would know that town's basically for free. So a small fight's happening in desert right now. It seems that no team is actually taking initiative except the Crown Wagons of on E7. Other than that, there's really not much happening elsewhere. It's just better whether the teams, which first team blinks, I guess. In this case, not really who first blinks loses, but who first blinks gets, well, meaning that they had the initiatives. So that TVPs are rotating out slowly. The Crown Wagons are slowly taking a bit more hits. The building's just HE flat damage, so there's not much to be worrying about just yet. It seems that Cats are not really contesting anywhere at all. They're just really content of just being passive right now. So E7 is gonna now try to contest A cap. He's Nat's gonna take 1 hit going into A cap, but other than that, nothing's gonna really happen. IS4 would love to try to get a reset on him, but he's not able to push in. Because Nat will have the cover of TVPs, so he's not escaping, taking 1 hit back, 2 hits back, but that would be so worth it still, because that would give them the cap advantage, and Cats is actually playing a lot slower than your usual team would be. So it will be nice to have Cats playing at this pace until the end of the game, but I'll be sure that Cats will definitely be now on their toes, thinking what they should be doing right now to sort of reverse this cap advantage from E7. So hit points are now slightly in the favor of Cats, but cap points in the favor of E7. There's also map control. In this case, E7 actually has a pretty good hold right here, even though they have less tanks. So it would take Cats a lot more effort to push C side. As for A side, they're now contesting it, and actually E7, even though they have 1 more tank in the form of Vickers, they're now actually not in the positioning to reset A. So the cap points would go. The cap would go onto Cat's possession, and cap points would go into Cat's lead. Cap would go to Cat's side very soon if E7 doesn't do anything about it. They don't know the TVPs are rotated out, but even if they knew the TVPs are rotated out, they would still not be able to push onto the E5s because they have TVP. At least 1 TVP is cover in Reject Humanity. But he's also going to A, so that would leave these 2 E5s sort of stranded themselves. But E7 doesn't really have enough information to determine the TVPs are actually fully out just yet. So you can see that they're trying to posture themselves for a push, for at least for a C cap contesting, and it will happen. It will happen that they're contesting C cap. They try to be as annoying as possible. The TVPs would get spotted sooner or later, and that would indicate that Cats basically had their entire team there right now. Chromatox took a lot of hits, not good for the TVP. Hit points dropping for both teams, a bit of here, a bit of there. So C-Cap's still not being capped, so the cap point advantage now in Cat's favor, and Cat's now pushing in as well. Cat's also now taking B-Cap, which sees a lot of hit point being dropped for E7, and a fight now being unfolded onto C-Cap side, which we will see. I think E7 actually lose this fight out here as well, depending on how their focus fire is. But E7 now also lost 2 tanks inside town, so the tank advantage now heavily in disadvantage of E7. Cats would have 3k hit point advantage and 3 tanks advantage. And that would mean it's very likely that Cats would pick up this round, and E7 would have to go back to the drawing board to think of how they can sort of play better in the second game. Because right now, Cats have them sort of pinned down wherever they go. So even though they have the advantage at C side, they can't really do anything if Cats decide to push inside A cap, where is the only cap position. So it was really key for Cats to sort of get that A cap, because that really meant E7 is now pinned for really trying to scramble to get a cap advantage. Since they have a less mobility lineup, it really meant that even though they can be anywhere they want, it's also meant that once they're getting caught at, it's really fatal. It's really fatal that when it happens. So, looking back at the game, we can see that like the lineup's definitely a lot lighter, a bit lighter in E7 side. So, but the approach at the start for both teams is actually all right. E7 got a cap at the expense of one Vickers hit point. I would say that's alright trade, but you can also argue that that's a pretty bad trade. And the thing I see here right now is E7 is sort of being a bit indecisive of what they wanted to do, because they're trying to keep putting the options, they try to keep the options open, but doing so meant that they spread really thin, and once they spotted TVPs, it was way too late, and their TVPs got caught alongside, and that basically meant that Cats basically got the entire A chunk for free, because they're facing TVPs and not Crown Bargains or IS4s to begin with. So being that slightly lighter, in this case, actually went in Cats' favor. As even the fight in C went in their favor as well. So props to Cats for going that way. So it will be first point goes to top 9 Cats, and we'll swap spawns and we'll return to Oasis Palms. So this case, the lineup is pretty similar for both teams. Where like for both games on both teams, Cats was taking the mouse. This case they dropped they didn't drop the TVPs. TVPs are still here. So yeah, both teams are taking pretty similar lineups for both games. You can't really blame them for doing so, because it actually worked out for both worked out for Cats, where E7 will have to prove that. Well, they dropped the TVP, so definitely a change up for E7 is a good thing. In this case, E7's going to get the cap advantage first, where Cats is going to be slowly crawling back to the cap points as they get A. But Cats has totally vacated desert area, and they haven't spotted the TVPs rotate out, because that would be a lot of damage being missed, because if they're able to spot TVPs, that would mean that that's basically free farm as the TVPs are rotating. So not getting that spot on might actually hurt a bit, but it wouldn't be the game changer for E7 just yet. And whether E7 does right now or doesn't do properly right now, that would determine their fate. So slight hit point being dropped from both sides. Cat's taking a bit more flak than E7. And E7 also has the cap advantage, so right now they really just need to set back a bit more and just sort of lock down their rotation. So as long as E7 is able to lock down the rotation, Cats wouldn't be able to do anything other than sit back, other than trying to contest into a wall of heavy tanks. So it is up to Cats right now to collect information and see which side of E7 is being weaker. But as of right now, it seems that the spawn side of E7, it's slightly weaker than Cat's spawn side because of the coverage fire from their teammates. But Cats is yet to go out on any expeditions to collect information about E7's setup. So they only know that a few tanks were here and there, but they don't really have the full picture at the same time. Perhaps you don't really need a full picture, but it really helps to know what the entire picture is, because you're now in the cap point disadvantage and you need to be the team that does makes the initiative to be pushing in. But it seems that Lion might actually be posturing for a B cap at some point, as he's the closest tank to B cap. But it might also not be the case because he's also pretty pinned in this position. He's trying to make a peak for it, but he doesn't get punished for it. So he's still intact with most of the hit points, so that's a good thing for him. Cat's dropped a bit more hit points. E7 dropped slightly a bit more as well. So both teams right now is just try to figure out what the enemy is doing, what the enemy is most possibly doing. But you want to be careful to not get caught in any of your mediums and light tanks, because that is basically a one-way trip to lose the game. So right now, it's just really a matter of, okay, Cats is making a play onto E7 spawn site, and Lion is also is also really next to B cap. He might actually go cap it very soon. But Cats slowed down already. They didn't want to push any further. They're now just trying to make a staircase formation. As I said that, they pushed in. So they can just B cap at the same time also try to push into E7 spawn site. That would prove to be a bit of troubling for E7, but also Cat's also dropping a lot of hit points in the meantime. So this will actually go in E7's favor than Cat's favor, because they'll get this hit point being dropped. It's now a 4k hit point advantage in favor of E7. And this gap is growing more and more. It's 5k hit point advantage in favor of E7. And it's 2 tanks down for 1 already. One tank down for 1 already. So even though Cats now got 2 cap lead, they don't have the hit points to play with anymore. So now E7 can really push in, because now Cats got the caps. But Alliance gonna go down very soon. Same goes for IS4s and Lucario here in the E5. IS4 goes down. Tanks are dropping left, right, and center. Oh, actually, now Cats only need 1 more tank to win, as the cap now is still taking in favor of Cats. 50 cap points to win for Cats. They need to step onto caps and also start killing tanks. Yes, E7 now finally killing a Hermes in the TVP that yielded them the win. That was really close. That was really close for Cats. If they hold on to the tank advantage, hold on to the tanks, but that wasn't meant to be, as actually they bled a lot during that push. That basically gave a way of E7 to come back into the game, and them not stepping into the caps at that point really meant that Cat's cap point keep compounding until in the end that they were able to stop the bleed by starting to kill Cat's tanks. But I feel like that was a really close call. It might actually be better if E7 was actually be able to make that counter push slightly earlier, because that really meant that Cats got 2 caps, and that ticked very quickly. So if E7 pushed in just that 1 second later, that might actually mean the win would go into Cats, just because that the cap was still in E7's in Cats' favor. So at this stage you can tell. It's 925 versus 900. You can see the cap points at some point will be taking to 970. So now it's 915, 965. So the cap points going forward and backwards. So it's 980 versus 940 right now. It's just basically 25 cap points versus 15. So right now, at this moment, I think E7 already won, but since they also have 1 low crown wagon, and even though Cats have a few low tanks, but they're not really dying just yet, it could really just be either team's game still at this point. But them killing the last tank, TVP, that sealed them the win. So really good stuff from E7. And we will now go to Alpenstat, move on to the next map. So now we're going to Alpenstat. E7 still using double TVP, so we'll see what they can do with these lineups. Cat's also using double mouse. That's really signaling you're going for BC cap because there's no way you can play AB with this double mouse lineup. So it's indeed what they're doing, going for BC. Meanwhile, E7 is now taking heavy control towards A, with Alex only tank watching B. They have nothing in Windows side. There's nothing in Lighthouse side. So right now it's basically which team gets the quicker cap advantage. And E7 is actually going to get a faster than Cat's getting C. So cap advantage is going to go into the favor of E7. But now Cat's gonna be very quickly try to rack up the advantage. Then now try to cap B at the same time. Double mouse, and this is gonna be very hard for E7 to reset because it's a double mouse cap. But they're also bleeding the mouse pretty effectively, so Cats will actually give up the cap at this stage because it's not worth it trying to have two tanks constantly getting bled but not having a cap in return. So good from both teams. Good with E7's focus for good with E7's bleeding at start, and also good on Cats back knowing that they can't contest the cap just yet and backing off. But that doesn't really mean Cats stopped, so they basically pushed up already during this time, and they gained a lot of ground without E7 making any resistance. So even though E7 know that they're pushing up that far, they can't really do much about it because they're doing it in a way that E7 is not prepared for just yet. So now it's gonna rotate back, but that information has been relayed to the team of E7 that they got two tanks here. Cats, just get ready because we might actually need to push the other side. But as you can see, Cats has really heavy lineup. They got orange and double mouse, and that might be prove to be very hard to push on their spawn side. So if E7 can gather this information that they got U100 here, that might make their job 10 times more easier because that basically sealed that would tell a lot about how E7 can push in. Now it's in a bit of a sticky situation. He might want to try and get out dodge. So, Cats is now the team being bled. Capo and Punish still in the favor of E7. And it seems like they don't really want to. They currently can't contest speed because of the spotting. It seems like E7 is now also trying to push back onto their spawn, ready for a counter push whenever Cats try to step onto any of the caps. Now Cats is now once again attempting B, but this time E7 is ready for a counter push onto Reject Humanity. So they in this case it might actually mean that E7 is now fulfilling the cap lead in favor of a fight into Cats. So double TVP is now into the fight, and Reject Humanity is the first target. He's gonna go down very soon. He's one shot, he's down. Is one tank up for E7, but they lost quite a lot of hit points in the process, and that might be a door required for E7 Cats to come back into this game. As Cats now got a 2 cap. Cats now has 1 cap only, but they now got 1 tank. They now got slight 2k hit point advantage, and E7 got a lot of different angles they need to deal with if they want to keep pushing in like this. 7 rules gonna go down very soon. Chromatox is still a big hit from the HE. Chromatox went down, and now the hit points is now double in favor of E7, in favor of Cats. So now it's just basically whether Cats can hold on to these tanks, can get the advantage as much as they can, because right now E7 does not have the tanks to play with at all. But the caps will actually win E7 the game because now the cap points is now ticking very quick in E7's favor. They just need to stay alive. All they need to do is just stay alive and maybe take 1 tank with them. Oh no! E7 drop tanks way too quickly. That means Cats get this game. Get this round. Win. That is actually a yikes for me. It's actually a yikes. Because E7 almost had that game if it wasn't for the bleeding they had. So really well focused fire from Cat, and it took a long time for E7 to find their first target to focus, and that might actually be the reason how uh how like that's what I said. That cat hit point advantage was basically the window that Cats required to go back into the game. Um, just because, literally, just because of So at this stage, like you can see the cap points go in favor of E7 quite quickly. But the issue is that during this push, they took a lot of hit points and a lot of time to find the first target. In this case, at this moment already, Cats already got the hit point advantage back just because E7 took a long time and a lot of hit points searching for a first target. Just that was enough for Cats to come back in the window, because that meant Alex was low, and that meant that CVB has to go way so far inside to even kill one tank. So even to get one tank kill, that took a lot of momentum off E7's tanks, and you can see how they bled from there on in, and that basically gave Cats the room to go back into the game, because that meant they don't really have to worry about the tanker's advantage, rather because they still have the cap advantage and hit point advantage. That really meant they could just collapse back into E7 the E100s and Mouses, and Cat and E7 can't do anything about it. And look at these hit points. Look at these spicy shots from Cat. There's nothing E7 can do in that situation. So yeah, very well, like pretty well done from Cat to take that round. It's time for E7 back to drawing board once again, I guess, because this doesn't seem to be working for E7 at all. Cat is finally ready, and we're now going into the fourth round. It's 2-1 in the favor of Cats right now. And E7 seems to be going for a triple ice for Churro Kranwagen. Not sure what they're up to. But E7, but Cats is now playing very heavily towards C with triple E5s. So things would get very, very spicy as both teams is likely going to meet each other inside town. E7 is not going to contest corner though, so Cats actually can get C for free, while E7 is actually getting a very, very early B cap in. So now it all depends on whether E7 can get this cap. E7 get this cap, so however, they're now being sort of surrounded in terms of map control, and they're slowly bleeding a bit. So it's gonna be a bit painful for Nuggies to pull out. While Cats is now slowly getting C cap. This trade still sort of favors E7 because they had a sort of hit point of this deficit to begin with. But they're now still up in the hit points. So I would say this fight sort of still favored E7 a bit, but they're not slowly getting pissed off both sides. So they want to do something about this, because if they don't do anything about it, their Vickers are now being forced out of A. The Masters are now pushing onto B cap, but they're slowly backing off C as well. I'm not sure why E7 decided to do this way. They're not getting anything done. They're literally crawling into the same ball of nothing. So right now, they're now literally being pincered just because they all backed up to the same spot. This is gonna be a big mistake from E7 because that basically meant that they lost 1 tank for free. They lost 2 tanks now for free. 3 tanks now for free. It's basically them dropping tanks left, right, and center. So E7, they've dropped the ball right here for a bit. As they basically have even though now it's a 3 versus 6, so even though they got B cap, they don't have any map control anywhere elsewhere. That really meant, and they even backing off from the map control they already have. The very little map control they already have. So that basically meant they're reducing their map control from the already miserable map control. So that basically is gonna get you killed, regardless of how you're playing, because that simply isn't gonna cut it. If you give up that much map control in an early game in exchange for caps, that is not gonna go well. That is not gonna go well in any shape or form, as demonstrated in this game. That's just basically give you a one-way ticket back to garage because you didn't have any map control. You did not have any you don't have any map control, and you're actually getting pincered. Like, it's no way that you gotta get map control like that by backing off, especially. So we can take a peek. We can take a peek once again. So as you can see, E7 already has basically no map control to begin with, just because the Crown Dragons are playing very passive. But at this stage, they also decided to pull back as well. That's like the easiest way to get your team, tell enemy team that come to pincer us, because all 6 heavy tanks are spotted, but they're now being pincered by 5 heavy tanks. That is, I'm gonna say, a slightly shameful, because you're getting pincered by less numbers, but at the same time you sort of got yourself in this situation just because you pull back from nothing to begin with. So yeah, I would say that was sort of a drop of the ball by E7. They don't really have to go aggressive by Crown Dragons to get a map control, but they shouldn't be backing off from the existing map control because they didn't have much to work with. They literally just basically meant they don't have A, they don't have B, they don't have C. That was basically what that entire game meant, even though they get B early game. So yeah, a bit of drop of the ball right there. My game just crashed, so I'm restarting the game right now. I don't know why my game would crash, so I'm going back in now. Come on, Wargaming. Can you make a client that does not crash, man? Okay, I'm back. So now into Port Bay. It's gotta be match point for Cats. This is best of 7. First team to 4 would get the game. So E7 now goes back into a double TVP meta. While Cats is still playing for the double mouse. Both team has moments where these labs worked, where it didn't work. And it seems like Cat's lineup worked slightly more times than E7's. So it depends on how. So now really up to how E7 is gonna counter this, because now they're in a disadvantage situation, and the mouse from Cat's also going for a C cap. This is gonna be an interesting fight at C if it's gonna happen at C, because it usually does not. Usually the mouses in Port Bay is gonna go for a B play. It's very rare to see mouse. Ooh, Kujong in the E5 gets deleted by Amarak, so that means hit point advantage not in the favor of E7 because of the 2 mouses that Cats take. Though they now have a tech advantage in favor of E7, but the mouse from Cats is now pushing very aggressively into the back of E7, so E7 has to push in right then. They're slowly putting pressure into Cats, but they're not pushing in just yet. They're also bleeding quite a lot, so they might actually get pincer right here by a mouse. They're slowly bleeding Reject Humanity, but it's not gonna be quick enough because the E7 TVPs are now in the clip reload, and yeah, hit points are being dropped left, right, and center, and DPM of E7 is now gonna be very severely hammered as crime wagons are unloaded. The TVP is still reloading, and they should be back on track and to start dealing tons of damage onto the enemy. Lucario is gonna go down very soon alongside with Reject Humanity. That would mean it's gonna be a 3-1 trade in favor of E7, but the hit point is still in Cat's favor, so that means E7 still has to do a lot of crawling in terms of hit points, as they have the tank disadvantage, as they have hit point disadvantage. Now they got a hit point advantage as well, so that could mean E7 might actually be up for a round here right now. Chromatox need to be careful as he's a very low target right now. He's being shot at. They're now focusing Lion in the mouse. Hello Mimi in the E5 went down because Hermes pickers go down already. So there's only 2 mouse left. And it's just a matter of time of E7 trying to clean up right now and close the game. So it's gonna be a 3-2. It's still match point for Cats, but at least A7 now is gonna be losing with, at least they have 2 points as opposed to 1. So yeah, that was a really unfortunate Amarak. So even though we received like 6 shots, wait, was that Amarak even? I think that actually might not be Amarak. Let's give it a check because we got replays. Remember that? Let's give it a check. That's actually curious. Whether that was a Amarak or not. So he took 1 hit, 2 hits. So that was indeed an Amarak explosion. So yeah, that's actually unlucky, really unlucky for Amarak to be exploding at that timing. But no, E7 was fully prepared because you can see at this stage they got all the tanks ready to shoot Kujong. So even if he did not have got Amarak, he would still have taken tons of flak damage just because he was crossing an E5. So that basically proved to be very beneficial for E7 to begin with. And I shouldn't say that, but I feel like E7's success actually sort of hinged onto that ammo rack, because even though at this stage they actually had the hit point disadvantage, and it is only until the very very late stage they get the hit point advantage. So imagine if that ammo rack did not happen, that could meant that E7 would actually lose that game if everything went the way it did. And except the ammo rack didn't win E7's way. So it's actually pretty scary to think that way, but it is what it is. E7 got the ammo rack, they got what they did. So even though it was a close game, E7 still won it. So that's all. That's really all that matters. So good job to E7 for getting that round, but you really need to stop relying on these luck-based games, and really, because imagine one of your games, winning games, actually relies on an ammo rack. That's not gonna bond well any shape or form. So now back onto Port Bay. If E7 wins this, it's gonna go into a tiebreaker. If not, Cats will be winning this matchup. Both teams are going to be into A in this stage. Actually, very very interesting to see how A fight is going to unfold. But Holomimi's already spotted. So Hermes in the back's going to be a bit. Is in a farming position. He's going to get spotted. He's going to get shot at. How many times is going to be able to shoot him? He now got himself safe. But he just got. It was a pretty close one. He almost got shot very heavily. But E7's not able to get A cap at all. But at the same time, Nucky's and Fries is also flanking in the mouse, so he's gonna catch Eyeline in a very strange positioning, in a very awkward position, and that with Nat together, that's gonna be this will be a disaster if Cats doesn't do anything quick right now. So Cats now pushing in very aggressively. So that meant they're gonna try to take out Nat very quickly. But that also means that E7's gonna be fully prepared. They can actually deal with the issue at hand right now. Is that they have many mobility being stuck in low ground, and they're actually gonna be able to capitalize on that. So it's gonna be a 1-for-1 trade. Halomimi goes down for Nat. TVP is gonna go down very soon. If they only hit their shots and pair shots, TP goes down, Rejected Mangy goes down. Some Ruler actually gone very soon, but Hermes going down first. Ruler goes as well. It's gonna be a 3-2 trade in favor of E7. Lucario is now the next focus target. Lucario is now gonna take a lot of hits. As for Rose gonna go down, it's gonna be a 3-3 trade, not in favor of E7 just yet. But Lucario's gonna go down. It's gonna be back in the favor of E7 once again. The fight is now neck and neck. Hit points is also neck and neck. It's really now just depending on which team has better focus fire, and Chrome just goes down. He's gonna need to start focusing tanks down, because if they don't, that's gonna mean that Cat's gonna get this game done. T22 needs to get out of dodge and actually get in the fight as well. Not being isolated like that, that's gonna be very useful. Kujong in the E5 is gonna be a one shot. He's gonna go down, so that's gonna be a good start. And let's see if the mouse gonna be able to take down Alex or not. I actually really need to try to stay alive as long as possible. Let Nuggies take all the hits, and let the T22 and Krang try to be the long range farmers. Because right now, these two are mouses. They're not made to chase tanks. So right now, it's really a matter of whether cats can go get themselves together a Crown Wagon kill or not. But now hit points in the advantage of E7. And things are still looking well for E7 right now. The masses are equal in hit points, at least close in hit points, and Naki's gonna take the fight for now. Ooh, dropping that shot is not gonna bond well for the game itself because your T20 is capping A. So Alan's gonna know where that T20 is gonna be coming from. So he also dropped the shot. So that's gonna be a bit of stalemate going on right now. Nagi's gonna put one shot back in, but hit point is still in the favor of Eyelion in this small fight right here. But Eyelion's gonna know where T20 is gonna come from, so he's gonna be pushing that side. Oh, so it's basically a 1 versus 1 here, but it's also not really 1 versus 1 because Eyelion also has to play with information. So whatever the T20 is gonna give him, it's gonna be what he's gonna be working with. He's gonna know that his back's gonna be vulnerable, so he's gonna try to adjust for that situation. Nagi's Alan no longer have spot to each other. So that might actually allow Alan to cap A, but now they both respond each other, so that might not be a case anymore. So Alan's still slowly reversing back to A cap. That might allow Nagi to put one shot into it, if Nagi wants to take a chance of it. Well, it doesn't seem like it just yet. Ooh, he actually hit it on over the crates, not crates, but how do you call them? Containers. Yeah, they hit him over the containers. Actually, a very good shot for Eyeline. That's actually gonna be very close if E7 don't be careful. It's gonna be that's actually gonna be Cat's win if E7 don't be careful. Eyelin's gonna be driving a bit recklessly, but he's gonna be safe for now. Nuggies goes down. That actually could be a big game changer if Teacher is not gonna be careful. Because Eyelin's now slowly marching to B. So even though E7 still have the cap lead, the cap lead is gonna go into Cat's favor, and Teacher doesn't seem to want to go cap A, which I feel like is a safe call. Because all E7 needs is 200 cap points, but Cats needs 600 cap points in order to win. And there's really no way Eyeline can really catch T22 unless I think I said it too soon. They just fought each other for 1 second there, and that's enough for Eyeline to make the move. This could be a very ugly ending for either of the teams. They got a proxy for each other, but this could be very ugly ending. As Eyeline's trying to play bring around Rosie with a T22. It all hinges on who blink first. It's gonna be E7 taking the cap win anyways. So we're now going into a tiebreaker, which is Yukon. That was really close call. I'm really speechless to be honest because like that shouldn't have been that close. Nagi took quite a few risks that really didn't pay off, but it could also equally paid off if he put a bit more effort into it. But at this stage, I want to point out one thing. In this case, Nat was very forward, as you can tell. He actually got caught without Cat's mobility actually being bled a lot. So in this case, I feel like E7 got caught off guard a bit by the super aggressive push. They're not prepared, at least. Not necessarily caught off guard, but they're definitely not prepared to punish the mediums pushing into A side. So that really meant that that the TVPs actually got away a lot more than they should have. from cats. So even though they're able to take down e5s from cats, the TVPs from cats actually stay alive a lot longer, and they prove to be very painful until they actually get taken down. So as you can tell, yeah, the TVs are actually getting away with it only until the medium started going for it. So it's really close. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's just plain out ugly, but it's not the most cleanest way of doing it either. Like you should really be prepared for such a maneuver by cats when you see that happening, and it all boils down to a in a 1v1 against a medium and mouse. Like these are not games you really want to be winning or playing with, but it's tiebreaker anyways. We're in tiebreaker, and it all boils down to this one game, and there's only one game. So whoever wins this wins the matchup. Whoever loses this loses the matchup and goes down to the lower bracket. So, E7 now taking 2 mouse, double T22 to drop the TVPs, double E, triple E5s, which seems to be one E5 is AFK. Not anymore. E7 get a B cap, getting B cap, while Cats is now getting C cap and also trying to get A as well. So that might actually give Cats a slightly cap advantage if they're not aware of this. If E7 are not aware that Cats are not doing a A cap thing. And Cats seems to also want to push in a bit deeper than just getting A cap. So depending on how things end up, there might be a cap advantage for Cats on the cards right now. So it's indeed a cap advantage for Cats. So it's now time for E7 to make a move. But E7's mouse is actually pretty pushed up. That means these two mouse are basically stuck here for good, unless E7 is committed to protecting them as they rotate out. But it didn't seem like they want to, when the mouse rotate out as well. They sort of want them to be anchors as E7 try to push towards the right side, spawn side of Cats. So right now these mouses right here, all they have to do is just to buy time. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do much at all other than try to gather some information at intervals. So that's exactly what they're doing. They try to gather some information at some time, but also not try to bleed too much to the point where they gotta be a burden for a team. They're also slowly peeking this side, so that even though that Cats doesn't know that they're actually in that E7 actually got a slightly better positioning in the cards. So in this case, the TVPs of Cats is actually gonna be gonna get caught. They gotta be very likely gonna be at least one TVP is gonna go down at this place, which is gonna be hers. At the same time, Cats also pushing into the C cap into 2 E5s. E7's mouse gonna have to be playing into the games right now, because you can't have your mouse out of fight, especially in this juncture of the game. It's gonna be 1-for-1 trade. Hit points in favor of Cats, cap points still in favor of E7. Nuggies and Fries gonna go down very soon, but Align and Reject Humanity both low. Both one shots and they'll go down very soon. But Nuggies go down first. Reject Humanity and Align should be soon to follow. Nat is gonna go down very soon, and the T22s there's gonna be a free trade for both teams. But what Nat did right now is he also pulled away one E5 away from the fight. That could prove very useful for E7, because now they have a fight advantage inside this fight. So Nat goes down, and if E5's gonna get this kill cleanly, that's gonna mean E7's gonna have the advantage here. E7 now has free cap as opposed to Cats 1. So E7, even though Cats now is trying to trying to step into C to prevent that cap from taking, the cap advantage might actually go into E7 actually might win on caps, as the cap is now in the 2-1 favor, at least taking 2-1 in favor of E7. It's now 947 as opposed to 700 of Cats, and Cats are very low tanks right now, and this game should go into the back of E7 if they play this correctly. It's a one-shot E7, one-shot Crown Dragon versus E5. This should go into E7. E5 should be able to get this kill. And he does get it. It's only now one tank versus two. And E7 now basically got this game with all three caps still in their possession. So E7, what a comeback. They came back all the way. Though, that comeback started from an ammo rack. And it was still shaky until the tiebreaker. It was very shaky, I would say, in terms of gameplay. But they still made the comeback worthwhile. Like, at least they won the matchup. So E7 won 4-3 over Cats. Congratulations, E7. Like that wasn't like that was definitely not the cleanest games you can ever wish for. Like, okay. So recap. Both teams played to their cap advantage. So Cats get a solo cap, a slightly cap lead ahead of E7 at the start, but E7 was very quick to respond into a push to Cat spawn. That meant they caught 2 TVPs, isolated, and they also got a step onto C. That meant they have the cap advantage, and also they got because they got the jump on the TVPs. That meant E7. That meant Cat's mobility actually got hammered really quick. As you can see, the mobility of Cats actually goes down first. Reject Humanity actually goes down a bit slower than expected, but eventually goes down before the first tank of E7's mobility went down. So that gave a lot of advantage in E7's favor, whether it be the whether it be the mobility advantage, map control, and even the cap advantage. So even though E7 still doesn't have the hit point just yet, they soon will have it because they still have all the mobility intact. And in this case, E7 not taking any Crown Dragons also helped them a lot in terms of DPM, because that meant Cats always had some tank, always like Cat's Crown Dragons stay all the way until the end, stay alive all the way until the end. That meant that DPM was not contributing to the fight. The DPM was really low, and they can't really contribute to the fight at all. And since the mobility of Cats got hampered very early on, that really meant that you have to rely on the deep damage dealing to your Crown Dragons, which they're not efficient. They're not designed to do that. So I wouldn't say the game has been written from the moment E7 caught the mobility of Cats, but that really just meant Cats got a big boost by not having the Crowns focus first and focusing their mobility first, because that really meant that Cats had really not much choice. They don't have much choice other than to push in, try to do as much as they can. So very nicely done by E7. Commiserations for Cats as they now drop down to lower bracket. They'll be facing top 9. They'll be facing PGMT in lower bracket finals to fight for the grand final spot. Which should, I'm not sure if it's today or not. It could not. It probably not today though. So we'll probably be back at some point. But yeah. So it's so I'm pretty sure that the grand final is gonna be on next Thursday because they postponed it from the coming Sunday. So there's gonna be no stream this Sunday. Rather, there's gonna be a stream next Thursday, for the lower bracket finals and the grand finals. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate the you guys tuning in. As always, take care. It was a pleasure streaming these games. Even though I might not sound like I'm excited streaming these games, it's actually very good to see how different teams play in these scenarios. And also, at least allow me to have a different perspective onto the game. At least viewing these games, that gave me a whole new perspective. For that's actually pretty beneficial in many different ways. So yeah, so stay safe, guys. And we'll catch you back for the grand final day